first announced witness for the 116th Congress is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress. But the Democrats don't care. They don't care. They just want to use you, Mr. Cohen. You're their patsy today. You wanted to work in the White House.
No, sir.
You didn't get brought to the dance.
Sir.
His remorse is non-existent. He just debated a member of Congress saying, I really didn't do anything wrong with the false bank things that I'm guilty of and going to prison for.
Mr. Jordan, that's not what I said, and you know that's not what I said. Shame on you, Mr. Jordan.
Ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Jim Jordan, grilling Michael Cohen during that explosive, hearing on Capitol Hill. And today he is going a step further, sending Attorney General William Barr an extensive 30-page letter that is calling on the Department of Justice to investigate Cohen for perjury. Here now, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, the ranking member of the Oversight Committee. Sir, good to have you with us tonight. Explain to me exactly what you want the Department of Justice to investigate about what happened yesterday.
We think, Martha, there are at least 6 occasions where, in yesterday's testimony, where Mr. Cohen said things that were not accurate. The biggest one, of course, is the fact that he denied that he ever wanted to work at the White House. He's on tape saying if offered a job at the White House, he'd take it 100%.
What difference does that make if he's embarrassed about it and he doesn't want to admit that he wanted a job?
You're not supposed to say things that are not true in front of a congressional committee, particularly when you're the first announced witness of this Congress, and in 2 months you're going to prison for lying to Congress, and then you come in front of Congress, and guess what? You don't tell the truth. That is not supposed to be how it operates. So that's the concern. There are other issues we spell out in the letter. The idea that he didn't register as a lobbyist when you have 2 companies you're representing, one from Kazakhstan, one from Korea, a whole host of things that we think are important. Remember, when a witness is coming in and saying the kind of things that Mr. Cohen is saying, any witness, credibility is always an issue. And this is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for 4 distinct federal crimes, one of which, of course, is, as I said, lying to Congress. Okay. And he did it again yesterday.
All right, here's Adam Schiff. He believes that he actually bolstered his credibility yesterday. Listen to this.
Well, look, there's no question that any witness coming before Congress who has a history where they have been dishonest with Congress comes in with a credibility problem. But at the same time, a lot of what he said today, I think, bolstered his credibility. When people want to make things up, they don't generally do it in a half fashion.
What do you think about that?
He's delusional. I'm not Mr. Schiff. Well, not Mr. Schiff, but Mr. Cohen. He said that he started the Trump campaign for president with some website he filed. So, I mean, come on. How do you trust anything he says when he has said things like that? Like the reason that Donald Trump ran for president because I formed a website back in 2011. And again, he doubled down on that in the course of his testimony yesterday, just like he doubled down on the fact that he never wanted to work in the White House.
Do you think on those issues that you're bringing up that the Department of Justice is really going to pursue that they're going to, move further in terms of accusations that he lied in front of Congress yesterday?
That's a question for Bill Barr in the Justice Department. That's the Attorney General's call. All I know is there were so many inconsistencies. On one hand, Michael Cohen said that he was the president's personal attorney, and yet he wasn't the president's personal attorney. He wasn't on a retainer, and yet he was getting reimbursed for something else. Back and forth. He didn't want to work in the White House because he had his dream job, but he wanted to work in the White House. I don't know what to believe because it's tough to believe a guy who has this record of telling lies in the past, and specifically to the United States Congress.
I want to replay one of his sound bites from yesterday saying that the president did not directly tell him to lie. Watch this.
Mr. Trump did not directly tell me to lie to Congress. That's not how he operates. In conversations we had during the campaign, at the same time I was actively negotiating in Russia for him. He would look me in the eye and tell me there's no Russian business, and then go on to lie to the American people by saying the same thing. In his way, he was telling me to lie.
So it's interesting looking at the coverage of that moment, because you look in some places and it says, he didn't directly tell him to lie. End of story. Other takes on what happened yesterday say that he said he clearly did tell him to lie, and that was the way that he communicated with him.
You know why you can have both takes? Because Michael Cohen said things, which again just goes to the point. Mr. Trump didn't direct me to lie, but he told me to lie. Which one is it, Michael Cohen? I didn't want to be his personal lawyer, but that was my dream job. I didn't want to work in the White House, but if I was offered a job in the White House, I'd take it 100%. I mean, this is the point. This is the point. He's going to prison for lying to Congress. He comes in front of Congress and says he didn't lie, but we have 6 different instances where he said something that was not accurate. So that's the whole point, and that's what we're trying to get across, and that's why Mr. Meadows and I sent the letter to the Attorney General today.
What about the Democrats' response to what happened yesterday and the push for impeachment? Do you think they're going to pursue that? When you look at polls, the American people seem to not be, the majority of American people seem to not be in favor of pursuing that. But Carolyn Maloney, representative, came out today and said that she thought that the groundwork was there now.
Well, they're going to do it. It's a crazy plan that they have, but they're going to do it. It is no accident that Tom Steyer was in New York last week organizing a town hall in Chairman Nadler's district, and this week was in Baltimore organizing a town hall in Chairman Cummings' district. Tom Steyer, mega donor for the Democrats, they are going to do it. That's how radical they have become. So I think this was the step one, and this is the best witness they had. The guy they brought in to start their whole plan to move on their crazy impeachment process was Michael Cohen, as I said, a guy who was going to prison for lying to Congress. When he was brought in front of Congress yesterday, he lied again.
Michael Rothfeld, he's an investigative reporter for our corporate cousin, the Wall Street Journal, and has been covering Cohen's testimony. In fact, he broke the news that Cohen arranged hush money deals with the porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Michael, good to see you. I want to kind of bring you back 13 months because when you broke the story, Michael Cohen said to you, and I'm quoting here, "This is now the second time that you are raising outlandish allegations against my client. You have attempted to perpetuate this false narrative for over a year, a narrative that has been consistently denied by all parties since 2011. And this is what Michael Cohen sounded like yesterday. Play this.
Is there any other wrongdoing or illegal act that you are aware of regarding Donald Trump that we haven't yet discussed today?
Yes, and again, those are part of the investigation that's currently being looked at by the Southern District of New York.
Yeah, we're talking about 2 different men there, Michael. What did you make of his testimony yesterday?
Well, he's reversed himself, obviously, for some months. And it's true, as you said, when we initially were reporting on that, the statements you read were referring to whether Trump had a sexual encounter with Stormy Daniels. And Cohen consistently had denied that. And he actually, at the time, didn't address the hush money payment, didn't specifically deny that it happened because he very well knew it did happen. But he was defending President Trump for a long time after we reported it in January of 2018 until he came under criminal investigation and was raided by the FBI last April. And then a couple months later turned on the president and ultimately pleaded guilty and fingered the president. So he is a very different person now and has definitely changed his tune.
A day after this testimony by Michael Cohen, Michael, are you surprised that the Democrats aren't as riled up about the hush money payments as some might have thought they would be? In fact, a lot of them saying we want to wait until the Mueller report comes out. Did that surprise you at all?
Am I surprised that they're riled up by it? Not really. I mean, they're in power now in the House, so they want to investigate the president. And Michael Cohen has pleaded guilty to campaign finance violations, which we know and we've reported that the president was involved in arranging these in 2016 during the campaign. And, normally DOJ does not prosecute presidents while they're in office. But there was a tape of Cohen talking to the president about the Karen McDougal hush money payment during the campaign. And, yesterday he described the president being involved in negotiating the Stormy Daniels deal. So it is not surprising that the Democrats would want to be examining Mr. Trump's involvement in these deals.
And what about Michael Cohen saying that the president didn't specifically direct him to lie, that he gave him these coded messages? What did you take away from that?
That was regarding the Trump Tower Moscow deal, which Cohen has pleaded guilty to lying about that to Congress. And I don't think that's surprising. The president doesn't explicitly often, I mean, people who know him say, he's not going to specifically, he's going to protect himself. He's very smart. If he wants you to do something, and I'm not saying he did it, but he might not come out and say explicitly, I want you to lie to Congress. So Cohen says he gave him a coded message, and he followed it.
And the story goes on. Michael Rothfeld with our corporate cousin, the Wall Street Journal. Michael, thank you.